Hello, chat. Welcome, everybody. Just give us a minute while the comms are figuring out mic issues. I'm not a commentator. I'm your restreamer, Math Girl. Hi. How's everybody? So, we're underway. We have a rebroadcast from the second of Bobski, Stags, RB Karma, and Beta Strip. Alright. Ice. Oh dear. Seriously? You can't be. Oh my god, not again. Give me a second to fix the audio problem. You should be able to hear it now. Cool. Guys, is anybody gonna commentate except me? Oh dear.
I don't have anything notable to say about the start. 3 keys are nice. I like these, the flag set, but it's a pretty underwhelming start here. I had a fairy water grind here at the beginning, so I get rid of some wings that I had accrued and head right outside to try to get some experience. But I don't, it's a pretty normal start for this flag set.
Yeah, I'm vaguely remembering that NPC to begin this one now.
This is an extra special moment for me where I buy a full plate and then I immediately find Erdrick's armor right after it.
That's much better than the other order there, Beta Strep.
Well, the meta's to find the Erdrick's armor and then buy chainmail.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this is another highlight where I get in a protracted battle with the green dragon trying to run away and I can't.
It does finally take a bite out of you, mercifully ending your struggles there, though.
I think that was 5 or 6 hurt casts in a row.
I know at the beginning of this, I saw kind of what was going on and just decided to start striking out to go and see if I could find cities. I know that it looks like Beta Strep and Stags had at least explored and done some grinding right off the bat. But, I think it was an interesting seed to see how it played out comparatively.
I feel like I had kind of a fortunate beginning. I was able to kill a scorpion pretty much immediately, and then I drifted north and killed a droll and saw a town, and it happened to be Cole, and it happened to have the armor.
Yeah, so right here, Beta, if the flute is actually in the top of Grave, this is a pretty big distinction where I dive into Grave here and just die. Good old back attack.
Yeah, you got a super early Grave.
Yeah, you just kind of striking out to see what you can get to. If I get a really lucky hero walk, 3 chests there is a nice advantage. Hopefully never having to visit the bottom, because no one ever likes walking the bottom 2 floors.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in exploration luck being a big determinant in races. If you can avoid full clearing Grave and things like that, it saves an enormous amount of time.
Yeah, definitely. Stags, did I just see you get the hurt more out of a Drakima?
I'm not totally sure that this is the right video of mine. It looks wrong. It doesn't look to be the same clip.
Let us see what's in the basement. Because if you get in the basement and it's not Erdrick's cave, then that would be the wrong...
Yeah, I mean, it's not surrounded by desert either. Oh, that's weird.
Aha, okay.
Yeah, that's
in the basement for you.
Alright, well, let's see if I do any better in this one.
That's interesting, because I was like, I didn't think Drakima's had hurt more, at least that I saw, but, I could have just not seen it.
Yeah, this looks like a Chaos Seed.
Yeah, so here I find an Axonite in this desert, and I come back later looking for the Axonite, and I can't find it. I tried for multiple minutes, and just unlucky, kept getting metal slimes with the sleep small Dragon Lord breath combo, and just decided that it wasn't there. Decided that I didn't want any of it.
I just remembered thinking for most of the seed how badly I wanted the repel spell.
Yeah, I think I check for it fairly often, because I keep wanting it and it's just nowhere to be found.
Also, I love the fact that they're not tracking deaths for you, even though you died to a Star Wyvern.
That's true. I've died multiple times. I died to a metal slime, and then also to a Star Wyvern for sure. I feel like I died a lot throughout this seed, but it was just in ways that were relatively productive. Either I was a long walk from home and I had reached kind of the end, or just otherwise didn't really need to continue down that path. I sat there and actually contemplated how much that club cost. I remember seeing it being almost 14,000 and thinking, wow, that's a lot for a club.
Hello, everybody. This is Sneaky the Lost. I'll help out with the comms so that, the runners don't have to commentate on their own stream as much.
You can go ahead and ignore my stream. It appears to be a different feed.
Yeah, I had noticed that, unfortunately. But man, this seed was really interesting because I mean, you had a potentially very early Erdrick's armor, which did kind of set Beta Strep on the right path early on. But also, of course, these troll metal slimes with sleep and hurt.
One of the big things I remember about the seed is, at least for the first several levels, we had almost no magic, so despite having hurt more, we couldn't really use it that much, so I tried to chip away at wolves with hurt, and then I discovered they had Dragon Lord Breath, and I couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, wolves were unkind this seed.
Yeah, as I recall, the MP totals were complete garbage until like level, what, 14 or so?
It really took off in the later levels. I feel like the stat growth in this new version is a little wonky sometimes.
Yeah, I remember getting in a discussion with McGrew about kind of how the stat curve works, and it's a really interesting thing that I'm not going to go into, but it really kind of builds up as you fall behind the average. It kind of builds up to this potentially likely huge level gains at the end.
Well, you know, each seed gives you an opportunity to learn something new.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think even for the old hands like Beta Strep, there's still some times where we learn new tricks.
Yeah, I definitely did something in this seed that I don't typically do. I'll talk about it when it happens. I don't want to spoil it for people that are seeing this for the first time. But it's definitely something that I did for the very first time, and it was based on a race that I had previously against Smashy in the Tournaments of Hope.
And there's Beta Strep, where the Metal Slime actually used Golem strats on him to sleep him and then run away from him.
I feel like if we had Cantlin next to the start, I would have just loaded up on Fairy Water, like very early on, to keep the crap enemies away.
Yeah, I think thinking back through my approach to the beginning, I spent my Fairy Waters trying to, hurt enemies, and I should have just used them as I just did here to keep basically my walking unimpeded.
Beta Strep finding Hawksness and immediately noping right out of there. I don't blame you either. You're still not really in a position to tell anything that might be on that Treptile yet.
Actually, that was my second time through. Because of the layout of the map, I was forced to go back into it since it was right next to the bridge tile. The initial time I went through, I went to the spike and it was a golem, so I couldn't do anything with it.
Oh, you found out about that golem early.
He didn't get a chance to do anything against me, so I didn't know what he had, but I knew they existed in the seed, and to me that's really important.
Weren't all 3 spike tiles in the entire map golems in this seed?
Swamp, we will see. I don't believe it was golem.
I don't know if I even checked the swamp spike, to be honest.
I did early on just because I wanted to know if I needed to grab the princess for a GPS, that what would be there in my way, so that I had kind of a decision of when it was safer to go.
Now there's IB Karma in Upper Grave is picking up that fairy flute, which will come in handy later to deal with that golem.
I'd just like to point out a big divergence that's already happened. Bobsky already has all 3 plot items, including the rainbow drop, or he's about to get the rainbow drop at some point here whenever he goes east, but he already has the
I'm actually
components for the bridge.
Yeah, you'll see how long it takes me to find that. I do a fairly thorough job of exploring the rest of the map, and so one of the things that kind of cuts me both ways is I have pretty decent exploration. I'm pretty good at not losing parts of the map unless it's a one-tile bridge that I happen to forget. But you'll see me explore quite a bit of the map before I find my way there.
Bob and I had exactly opposite experiences in this seed.
Also, the werewolves with sleep is just mean.
Well, whenever you run across anything with sleep, it's automatically mean, especially if it's either something like a wolf that's a really enticing mid-level target to potentially take down, or something that is a Sharlock enemy because, you're trying to get to the Dragon Lord and you run into the guy, preemptive attack, sleep, even if he doesn't kill you, that's like 3 or 4 turns, he's just burning while somebody else could be getting closer.
I just remember being really annoyed that Metal Slimes rolled such a high stop resist in this seed. Because they're only like enemy number 20 in the vanilla game, so by the rules of Randomizer, you take the enemy number, you divide it by 3 and you round down, and that's the max stop resist they can have. So I believe Metal Slime's maximum is 6 out of 16. And I think I missed about half my stop spells on them.
I mean, that could also just be Beta Luck striking you, right?
True.
But I will say, anecdotally, I tried a stop spell, a Metal Slime. It's probably here up in this next minute, because I think I'm going up to try to get a level, because I'm just so frustrated by having 35 hit points at level 8 and not being able to do anything and keep getting waylaid by blue dragons, by werewolves. I'm just like, okay, let's go. And then I find a droll. I'm pretty sure I find something else. Oh, a warlock. Okay, that's in this zone too? Great.
Meanwhile, Beta finding Erdrick's sword, the big stick. So while he does, the only key item Beta has got at this point is the token. He's fully kitted out in the top tier gear: Erdrick's sword, Erdrick's armor, and the silver shield. Meanwhile, Bobski has all 3 key items, but his gear is lagging a little bit behind.
I think the one thing I didn't buy was a silver shield, and I don't remember seeing one, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. It might have just been me hurrying and not reading the shop fast enough.
Oh, excuse me, I apologize. He only has a large shield, but still, the Erdrick's armor, the Erdrick's sword, a large shield. This is effectively in-game gear, but he's only got the token. He doesn't have the other 2 items, whereas, Bobski's got all of his key items. He's in grind and go mode as soon as he can find the jerk for the rainbow drop, and, has... Well, okay, you do also have the Erdrick's sword.
Yeah, I just got Erdrick's sword because I'm clearing the mountain cave. I never get a silver shield in this seed. I believe that when you're dealing with a short Sharlock flag set, the silver shield is far less valuable than it would be normally. Because with Dungeon Repel, normally you want it because then you can repel potentially a whole bunch of things like wizards and werewolves and star wyverns and stuff like that when you're doing a full dive, and it speeds things up greatly.
Yeah, definitely. The long Sharlock has a huge calculus difference in terms of kind of, is it worth grind? Is it worth going out of your way to find one? I think I spent a lot of time looking around in the shops, but I'm actually on the other side of Swamp Cave, and the trap tile in the swamp, as you saw here, was the blue dragon. So it wasn't a golem, like Beta Strep showed us in Hawksness, but it's not an ideal one. I don't really like blue dragon trap tiles, because I feel like I lose the coin flip much more often than the 50% on the hurt more.
It's definitely a very specific scenario where you want to grind blue dragons. Usually the things I look for is like if they have a weak ability like hurt or baby breath, or if they have really low stop spell resistance and they're like 75% to cast hurt more. Things like that are what I look for if I want to grind them.
Yeah, and one of the other calculations here is we are still, I think I'm level 9, so I've got 40 hit points to start or something? Maybe. And so the blue dragon is just way too powerful for us since we don't have heal more, right? I can't even take, more than 1 hit really from a blue dragon if it takes a chomp.
Yeah, 35 hit points is just not going to be sufficient to be able to take anything from the mid to upper level tier enemies at this point.
This is also the type of seed where I believe it's really important to pay attention to the zones that you're going through when you're exploring, because we're clearly limited on hit points. So the things that we can fight are severely limited. The value of a spike tile grind is basically nil because we have very little magic. So it's really important to pay attention when you're going through desert tiles, hills, and things like that to see if you can find things that you can one-shot, especially things that are defense broken.
Absolutely. And I think that's one area for real strength for runners, is just kind of remembering and then sticking to it and not second guessing yourself. Because I'll second guess myself multiple times in this, where I'd be like, I thought I saw something I wanted here, but then I won't find it, and I'll just get impatient and move on.
Yeah, werewolves with sleep is annoying, and then of course Blue Dragon with a preemptive strike sending Bobsky back home.
And Karma here is actually making great progress ahead of me. We were both in Hawk's Nest, but Karma has the Fairy Flute and is actually just going to take this golem.
Yeah, that like I said earlier, him getting into upper grave and getting that flute is actually paying dividends here, where he's actually able to take on this golem, chipping it away slowly. Nope, he doesn't make it. He still gets one-shotted by this golem. They still hit a little too hard.
So here we are 21 minutes in, and now I have all the plot items, and this is where I have a decision to make of what to do when I go in here and seeing that it's the grave. Because when I come in here, I'm hoping that it's the jerk cave, actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really what you hope for. You know, you have all your items, you're ready to go. You don't think, oh, I want to see, 5 more chests, right?
Especially because there can't be anything of any use in any of those chests because you already have everything you want.
But you notice there, I made a split-second decision. I was about to nope out of the cave, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go check the 3 chests. And the reason why I did it is because I'd already seen the golem spike, and I thought, if the Fairy Flute's in the top of the grave, it's worth looking, because the golem might be on the spike in Sharlock, resources might be tight, and having a flute versus not having a flute can be the difference of whether or not you beat the Dragon Lord or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's actually a good illustration of kind of the importance of knowledge. So I don't have the Fairy Flute. I know the tracker says I do, but I don't. And I won't ever get it. And I don't get it because I don't know where it is, and I'm thinking maybe it's under the golem, and I'm thinking maybe it's on the map, if I haven't already done the count.
And that was a lesson I learned from the race against Smashy, because due to the order of exploration in my race against him, as it turned out, the Fairy Flute was in one of the chests in Sharlock, and I had no reason to check anything in Sharlock, so I just went straight to the spike tile, and it was a golem, and he had DL2.
Yeah, the learning from painful seeds is, I think, something that nobody talks very much about, but we definitely learn from the painful experiences, don't we?
Oh yeah, I mean, the fact that it had DL2 and it used it like 3 consecutive times against me or something like that, it cost me 2 heal mores for a golem, just because I didn't have the flute.
Yeah, I know some people like to kind of disincentivize the flute because it takes so long, but at the same time, it may take longer, but at least you'll be alive and without having to burn half your resources at the other end.
I mean, in this seed, it's almost a no-brainer. I'm 100% convinced that Betastrep made the right call there. I didn't have the knowledge when I was in the cave and wasn't going to walk back to it because I thought, well, maybe it'll be one of the places I haven't checked yet, right? So it's kind of that knowledge asymmetry that you kind of see the effects of as we play out. Because if I'm Betastrep, I'm thinking, all right, give me another 25 or 30 hit points, and I'm going to go take 255 a pop. I might fight the golem a couple times because these are super fast levels.
Yeah, that was kind of the thought at the time. When I think about the flutes being disincentivized, it's usually for grinding golems, but when they're on the spike tile, when you're trying to get to the Dragon Lord, it is definitely a case where I believe every single runner unless resources are insane, they're going to use the flute every time, because usually when we're going for game, we have tight resource situations.
Yeah, so I think you'll see an instance of that actually play out for me towards the end. Won't get ahead of it, but it definitely goes into the calculations for sure.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you flute, it's a guaranteed run at that point. So it's a lot faster than even failing a single run, much less having to fail multiple runs and then having to burn resources to heal back up.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's only one way through the trap tile in Hawksness, or not in Hawksness, in Charlock, though. So,
True.
You don't get a choice to run away and end up on the right side, unfortunately. That would be a favored strat if I could do it. Would make the dive a lot less stressful, potentially.
Now, one thing I would like to say here is that perhaps the fairy water at this stage, not necessarily the best idea, because you've got a high defense already. You've got a defense of 75, but you've only got 56 hit points. And, at level 11, and so anything that you're not repelling is going to be hitting hard enough that you're pretty much a two-shot wonder at this point. So I would actually personally be hesitant to start using fairy water in that kind of a situation, because I'm wanting to pick on the weaker enemies, because that's all I can realistically take on without dying.
No, that's a very valid point. I think what I'm thinking at this point is, all right, I have all the quest items. I want to see the jerk. I want to dive into Charlock and see what's there. If there's an Axe Knight on the spike that I haven't seen, then we're ready to go, right? Even though I don't have very much, if I can get to the trap tile, or if Hawksness is full of things that I can hurt more and get away with it, then I'm thinking, get me to go mode as fast as possible, even if it's not right now. So like here, I'm finding the end of the world. Like I said, I do a pretty decent job of exploring, and I'm pretty aggressive about doing it as often as possible. So, it might behoove me to be grinding here, and so I stumble into an Axe Knight. But instead of sticking around, I'll probably continue grinding, because again, I want to get the rainbow drop. I want to go see what's in Hawksness, and I want to get out of here, because I know that it's anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, that is one thing about Zoom seeds that makes them surprisingly difficult, is little things can add up to very big things. When you're talking about a sub-hour seed on average, even a little delay can be the difference between first place and potentially fourth place in a race like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now it looks like Beta Strep has just taken the experience lead back from me. And IB Karma has a little bit of exploration on me, it looks like, because they're down in Grave. So they have a little bit more knowledge, and are about 600 behind. But it's a really close race at this point.
At this point,
Right now, I'm just screwing around on the second continent looking for jerk.
Oh yeah, that full explored second continent is just, it's a treat, isn't it?
Oh, it was special.
But yeah, this first week, easy, normal seed, I mean, they're pretty much set up to be able to be a pretty fast clear. So even little things like deciding to go, west instead of east, and delaying finding something like the armor for a few minutes can be all it really takes to be the difference between, first and second, or even worse. I think most of the runners cleared this map within about 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah, I think that plays out more when I think the difference between, say, Beta Strep and to be quite honest, I might have been the last one to the armor because of the way that I went, and I dove into Grave and died and then went back, did a few other things before finding coal. It might be 3 to 5 minutes, but right now we're kind of even. I have a little bit less knowledge, or one less kind of quest item or extra item, right, with the fairy flute. But like now I'm stumbling into kind of what I think is good to go, because I've already seen kind of all the caves that I wanted to see, and so I'm pretty excited when I see what's on my screen right now. But I may or may not die to a werewolf, because they have sleep and can kill us in like 3 hits.
Yeah, and then here's Karma finding his freebie cave with a little bit of gold, which, could have potentially been a ghetto gold grind if there was anything in the shop left worth purchasing.
Yeah, the slow grind. I've been scolded on stream for doing it before. I'm one of those people who might go ahead and do it, but I've found the jerk and I've got the rainbow drop, and so I'm thinking, all right, let's go find what's on the trap tile at this point. I might drop into the city here and see what it is, but I don't remember if I'm actually thinking straight or not, or if I'm just going to go home. Oh, I am. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, with the prices being randomized, it's always worth just to check. I mean, especially Cantlin, it's got 3 shops, since keys are free anyway in this particular seed setup, just to see how much the silver shields are, because sometimes you can find a silver shield for 200 gold and score.
So I think that, especially with the flag set that we had this week with the 50% experience requirement, even though Bobski finds the jerk cave way before I do, if you can take any valuable fight that you can while you're looking for things, it's extremely important to do that so that you don't fall behind on experience, because once people start the dedicated grind, their experience can just take off if they happen to find something good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. At this point, you're just trying to find somewhere to go to be able to snap up a bunch of experience points so that you can get to your go stats, because while your gear is sorted and everything else is sorted, you're not going to be killing a Dragon Lord on 58 hit points.
Yeah, and so there's a little luck that plays into that too, right? Because like I'm watching Beta Strep's screen right here, and that was 2 werewolves straight that you got the hurt more all through, which I think is what, 40%?
It's got to be at least 50-50 to kill him outright with a hurt more. It can't be any harder than killing an Axe Knight.
That's fair. That's a good point. But I know that like werewolves I'm just pretty much done with, but I'll see some wizards in here which I like. So I fight through some wizards in Charlock and consider just staying here and doing the whole thing and doing the short grind and never even going to Hawksness if I don't have to.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't blame you for that. I mean, seeing a golem on that spike tile, seeing the fact that you've already got just about everything you'd want except the one thing that can counter the golem, and not having the knowledge that the fairy flute is actually at the top of grave, it makes perfect sense.
And I've seen the coordinates at this point too, so I'm thinking, okay, well, if I really need the fairy flute, it's probably, roughly by where Hawksness is, because I've kind of mentally mapped it out, and I'm saying, we're going to go in that direction eventually if I have to. So I think right here, I'm thinking, let's go see what the trap tile is. If I can hurt more at the whole time, great.
Yeah, I mean, makes absolute sense. I'd probably do the same thing in the same position.
I just like to point out that level 13 gave 17 power and 1 hit point.
I mean, I would take it. If I could get any given level to be 1 and 17, I'd be fine with it, because usually we're hurting for power.
But at this point, I wanted hit points, because if we get like a 30 hit point gain, at least I can do a spike grind and feel somewhat good about it.
Oh, absolutely. And here I find the AK-47 has heal more, so the double heal or hurt more strat gets less viable, which is not a whole lot of fun to find out.
Yeah, that pretty much makes them something to run from instead of something to try and take on for a boatload of experience.
I mean, at least we got agility at level 12 in the seed, right?
That is true, although, as the saying goes, agility is just a number sometimes. And there's Beta getting the jerk finally, and getting his rainbow drop.
So this is where my past zone knowledge comes into play. I remember where the Axe Knights were, and I just make a beeline to that zone because I look at my hit points, and I just don't have the hit points to do a spike grind at all right now.
It's kind of interesting hearing, you guys talk about your strats that you were doing and what you were thinking about as you were doing it. Because there's a reason I'm not in this tournament. They don't call me Sneaky the Lost for nothing.
You can always do what I do, and you can map.
There's nothing saying that we don't get lost. It's just eventually I find where I was.
Wherever you go, there you are.
I mean, mapping does consume a little bit of extra time. It probably takes an extra couple minutes of me for mapping purposes during a seed, but it's well worth it in my view.
Yeah, so here I find the bad news that there's just a golem hanging out in Sharlock 2, and I run away from the first one thinking, well, I'll stay here. What am I going to do here? I end up just sitting there thinking, I was like, I'm not going to walk around in Hawksness with no heal more and just sit here and slow heal with 12 MP left. Let's just go do something else.
Yeah, and I think that was really the smart call, just to take the Death Warp and find somewhere more profitable to grind on. Because at this point, even something like Wolves will be a more consistent experience gain. Obviously, Axe Knight's going to be the one you really want to find, but even, say, Magi Wyverns or Wraiths or Wraith Knights, something you can reliably take down with that hurt more.
And so now I'm having fun with this count, because, again, I've thought through and I've said, well, I don't know where the Death Necklace is, and I don't know where the Flute is, so maybe the Flute will the Flute will be on the spot, and I'll just be good to go to Hawksness, or it'll be under the Golem, and I'll just be out of luck. And that's what I'm thinking right now. So I do this count, and it's really not a very hard count. A couple count across waters, but you could see the other side, so it wasn't really too bad. And here I'm just sad.
Yeah,
and here is where I really wish I had Repel.
Oh yeah, because you'd repel the metal slimes out. I didn't even think about that. At least during the seed, I didn't think about it. It makes perfect sense now, right?
Yeah, it's what I call a contaminated zone. Anytime you see a zone where you end up doing an overworld grind for a lengthy period, and you have like one desirable enemy, like an Axe Knight or a Magi Wyvern or something like that, if there's some other thing, either with a terrible ability or if it's just a time waster, I call it a contaminated zone.
I think that's a good way to think about it, yeah.
Just now hit level 13.
So, and you can kind of see the effect of that kind of dedicated grind that Beta Strep has going, because we were almost equal when I death warped out of Sharlock, and now I'm almost 1,000 down because he's been grinding and I've been counting and making my way over to Hawksness.
Yeah, and it's decisions like that, making the decision, you know what, the trap tiles are bad, let's just do an overworld grind. Hey, where did I see those X Knights again? And then kind of being flexible enough to make that kind of strategy shift.
But I think, like, thinking back to this point and knowing what I know now and knowing where the Flute is, like, I'm still not upset by my choice not to go back into Grave, because I was in Grave at 5 minutes and didn't make it past, like, the first 10 steps. And so at this point, I'm thinking, probably still gonna get the Flute under this golem, because I've seen, I think, one cursed belt, and that's it. And so, I don't have enough knowledge to think that I really need to dive there. And even though I know what's coming, it's not that high on my priority list to go and try it.
Absolutely, and I don't really blame you for that either, given the knowledge that you have. That is one thing that, when you're watching it versus when you're actually playing it is what does the player know at this time, and that can have huge impacts on what actually plays out.
I'd just like to mention that sometimes I do actually get decent RNG, and I actually landed a hurt more on 2 consecutive blue dragons, and then crit a third, although the crit rolled low.
I think rolling crits low is really just like the biggest icing on the cake when you're in a situation like this, and you're like, critical hit, 40. Oh.
So here's where I decide to dip into Sharlock now that I'm at level 14 and have a decent MP pool and my hit points are above 60.
Yeah, and I noticed Bobsky has kind of settled into this Charlock grind with a lot of these, this Hawksness grind with a lot of these Charlock and almost Charlock enemies in here, has also been doing okay for himself. Maybe not as...
And then right as you say it, I die.
And then, of course, the blue dragon goes, yeah, no. But the thing is, Charlock is so close to Tantagil Castle that it makes a lot of sense to just maybe do a front door grind in Charlock.
Yeah, and so that's actually what I go and do next here. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go back to Hawksness. I'm thinking there's got to be a level soon that gives me either heal more and or a ton of hit points. So give me the thing so I can kill this and get the flute, right? Because I still think flute's there.
Right.
But it's time for wizards for me, because I think wizards are probably the best enemy that I can find in here. They give a little bit more experience than the others, and we're taking less damage because they're a magic enemy.
Right, a magic enemy without spells.
So here's where I see the golem is the Sharlock spike, and I feel very good about going for that fairy flute.
I tell you what, this seed would have taken probably 20 or 30 more minutes if we hadn't had the armor so early.
Yeah, because you would have been taking a lot more damage from a lot more things, and that would have turned this seed into a really brutal grind.
I mean, I'm still under, 60. I'm at 62 hit points on level 14. So yeah, not having a step of healing every walk, that's a huge difference, I think.
Yeah, and you didn't get heal until what, 7 or 8?
I didn't actually notice us getting heal, so I couldn't tell you. It was one of those things where when you have Erdrick's armor, unless you need it in battle, I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it has done so much for you. Not just the heal walk, which was of course very valuable given your low hit point totals. Kind of make sure that you're topped off for every encounter, but also the defense value to be able to just tank hits that you would otherwise be one shot by. And
so this might be showing some of the edges of my knowledge in this game, but is the tile encounter difference actually different in Hawksness and Sharlock on desert tiles? Okay.
It is. It's treated the same, so you get a 1 in 8 encounter rate on the desert tiles.
I was never 100% certain. I always thought it might, but I also thought that it might be different inside of towns technically, because it might be treated like a dungeon.
Now, here's something interesting. Karma does manage to pick up a silver shield for 187 gold in Cantlin.
Interesting. Yeah, I just never checked any of the shops there. I was so ready to get into Sharlock at this point.
I think I just immediately cast Return as soon as I got the rainbow drop. I didn't even go into Cantlin. Even though I knew that town was Cantlin, I'm just like, I don't need it.
Well, yeah, you already had the flute, so you weren't thinking, oh, I need that.
Routing luck, man.
I'm not I'm not begrudging it. I think it's a smart play, right? If you don't have to think about the count, that's one thing that takes less time, right? Counting is a hard and slow thing. I really am not comfortable doing long, hard counts, and I'm super impressed by all the runners who successfully pull them off.
It could have been funny to go count out for the death necklace.
I mean, I did it.
I just picked up the death necklace on it, and I'm watching myself shake my head. I knew that things had gone very awry at that point. I only just now found Hawksness.
I think I just proved the utility of the hurt spell against that werewolf. They're very dodgy enemies, and they really love to troll you when you land a hurt more and you don't kill them, and then you try to do a melee. They often miss.
Yeah, I know there's no conditional logic in the dodging, but sometimes it feels like whenever you need that last one, you can't seem to find the enemy in front of you.
And here is where Beta Strip finds out that Armored Knights have heal more.
Which I think, it's one of those things where I think the optimal approach has been figured out to be attack and then hurt more, right? Because then you don't have to deal with potential heal mores, and you also don't get potentially wasted excellent moves. Is that still considered the optimal kind of AK-47 grind? I don't even know.
It depends on what your attack power is. When Armored Knights have heal more, the only guaranteed way to kill them is to throw 3 straight hurt mores on them and land. Assuming they land, is to throw 3 straight hurt mores.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, just so long you can keep him out of heal more range and then drop the big nuke on him to take him down without letting him get a chance to heal.
I think I had 121 attack power. My range on an Armored Knight is like 19 to 39. So if you roll below average, so like if I roll a 25 or something and then throw a hurt more, there's a fair chance that it's not going to kill it.
So all 3 runners that we can see right now on screen are in Charlotte Castle, but as we can see, Bobski and Beta Strip do have a 1 level advantage over Karma. Pretty substantial experience lead Karma's got right now, but he's just got sent back home. But the iteration time on this Charlotte grind is so low that, it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think Karma might actually catch me here because I can't take the golem. So I am stuck doing, I think, the most effective enemy for hit or for experience is the AK-47, which obviously brings some risk. Otherwise, that's like 2 encounters worth of experience that IB Karma is able to get in one go. Even though the golem takes a little bit longer, I think it probably balances out because you get the guaranteed encounter here on the trap.
And the 255 experience points per kill with not having to wander around for your next fight, and the fact that it does give so much, yeah, it probably balances out.
Because I was only about 600 ahead when we started kind of talking about that, and I'm still about 600, but I think it'll kind of work its way out here, because things aren't looking great for me. I don't love this. I know at this point I was feeling like, okay, I'm going to see Beta done anytime, or I'm going to see Karma or Stags done anytime. I'm very good at losing to Beta in these types of races. I think every time we've raced in a group setting of 4, I've lost. So I'm expecting beta to done at any time.
Yeah, especially given the flag sets and everything else, the fact that you're almost 50 minutes into the seed, you've got to be feeling the crunch at this point.
I mean, I'm just feeling how inefficient this feels.
Yeah. And welcome, Karma.
Figured I'd stop in since the rest of the crew's here.
Yeah, we were just talking about the fact that you have your flute here on this final Charlotte grind is actually helping you out against Bobski's grind, because Bobski doesn't have the flute, so you can reliably take on these golems here, whereas Bobski is really having to dodge those because he can't afford to take them on.
I'm gonna be real honest. I felt like my sleep luck on these golems was just straight ridiculous.
I had done the same thing against a stone man, where I think every time I put a stone man to sleep, it woke up the next turn, and I was like, up. I'm pretty sure most of the community just doesn't like stone men in the first place, and I'm just gonna decide that they're not worth my time.
Yeah, this was almost the opposite. Like, the golem woke up a couple of times, like right there, he woke up and killed me. But most of the time, he woke up and he just never woke up. I got like 3 to 4 hits in without being attacked, so it was great.
Oh, you were saying ridiculous in the good sense. Okay, great.
Yeah, on that one, it was good. Like, that grind felt really good, actually, because it was like, I think most of them, I was getting 4 to 5 hits in per fairy flute. So I was essentially killing one every time I fairy fluted, just once.
Yeah, and that kind of consistency in a grind is so useful in a situation like this.
Oh yeah, so Bobski was already a level ahead, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I had
Or
about
not.
a 600 experience lead when you took the death on that golem, and then I made it to the next level with like 1 MP left. So I'll probably take the death warp here is what I'll probably do, knowing my thought process.
Yeah, but Beta managed to find a decent overworld spot with fairly consistent Axe Knights and got an early experience point lead.
I see Beta's already at 16, so...
Yeah.
16 going on 17, I think, right now. Yeah.
12 hit points and 13 magic, which was everything he needed. At that point, he's just going back, top off, and that's it for him.
Yeah, I was trying...
And in fact, at 100, what is it? Oh, only 94 MP hit points, which is kind of risky because, you know, you're a little bit under that 97 you'd really prefer to be, but at that time he's got to be feeling the time crunch here. We're rolling around to almost 55 minutes, getting close to on a seed like this. He's got to be feeling like he's got to hurry up.
Yeah, I think we were all there. Like, we were all... Like, I think all 3 of us attempted it at 94 HP, and it's not easy. I know it sounded like, from what I've heard, that Beta Strep's luck's going to be a little bit better than ours, Bobski.
Yeah, just a little bit. He's made some good choices here and had some good exploration luck. That's one of the things that we talked a little bit about, is that how exploration luck plays into kind of the knowledge that you have and the decisions you make.
Yeah, but here we'll see that on several occasions he decides to attack instead of heal on 48, and it ends up paying off for him.
Yeah, or like one of the things that you know that I don't at this point is where the fairy flute was. And so I still don't have the fairy flute at 54 minutes. And I'm thinking, all right, well, I know the golem is there and the golem is here. I have heal more. Finally, I'm going to go kill the golem and get the fairy flute that's under this, right? I'm hoping it's here because I've checked all the chests except for Grave.
And there was the classic triple run fail to an armored knight. I'll mention that I checked my stats 3 times after leveling up. I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what my defense was, so I knew what the max melee was that was going to be coming in from DL2.
Yeah, but at 133 MP at least gives you a lot of heal mores in the tank. So, even though you're only at 94 hit points, yeah, I can see that. You can afford to blow a pair of heal mores if you have to at 133 MP.
Yeah, so you'll see how that works out here, because I'm not going to go and find the flute if it wasn't under the Hawksness Golem at this point. I've thought, all right, well, I'm already here. I'm going to grind, just doing the thing. So I think this works out okay because we have Heal More finally, and we have a decent amount of hit points, but I'm pretty displeased for me at this point to see what I see.
Yeah, I could only imagine you get there, you finally beat the golem, you do the search, and there's nothing. And just that, oh, really?
Best DL1 fight imaginable right there.
Pure stop spell?
Yep.
Went melee, stop spell, melee, dead.
Oh, you'll see mine in a second here.
Like right there, he went on 48, and he ended up getting a 44, so he was okay. And another time he's on 48, and he's going at it, and he ends up paying for it that time.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize Beta Strep had fought DL2 twice as well. Okay, that's interesting. Just decided to be aggressive. You thought you might be behind Beta, or kind of what's the thought process there?
I took a couple seconds to think about it, and I'm like, all right, if I heal at 48, and if he breathes for 46 or melees for 46, I'm exactly in the same spot again. I might be healing again. I might be stuck in a heal loop. So I just decided it's better to swing at 48. Like, if you're going to go on lower HP, you may as well make the decision right off the bat that unless you're rolling really high melees against him, you're probably swinging on all 47s and 48s.
Okay, yeah, no, I buy it. I just wondered what the thought process was, because, I approached the situation pretty similarly here in a second.
I don't remember. I just remember I got stuck in a hill loop and I just gave up.
I know it can be really easy to fall behind in a Dragon Lord with low hit points, so that is definitely part of the thought process for sure.
And you see, I was trying to grind the sand tiles, but because the enemies in Sharlock weren't bad, it was just the spike tile, even though it's a golem, was just faster just because it was guaranteed fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed fight. With the Fairy Flute, it's a fairly safe-ish asterisk fight.
I think I had a few times where I got down to 1 HP and survived. It was a fun grind.
The only hit point that matters is the last one.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a 33% chance that these things wake up every round, right?
Yep, all monsters have a 1 in 3 chance of waking up.
So I do feel like him staying asleep 3, 4, 5 rounds almost every time was just, like I said, it was good luck for once. Or if they woke up, it was I needed one more hit.
It's interesting getting to watch you guys go through all of this grind, because I was just stuck in perpetual exploration. I ran into a handful of those spike tiles, and I just couldn't get through. I'm on level 15 right now, and just found the mountain cave.
Oh, well, yeah, if you're just finding mountain, one of the major kind of spike points of this game is finding that Erdrick's sword. So even though you might have the flame sword, it's still a little bit of extra damage, right? So I know I spend most of the game just slashing at things.
Plus the harp and the token, and I'm just looking at my face, just the pain and the frustration. I know that everything has gone wrong.
And see, I think my thought here is I knew that I'm the newer runner of the group, and I found everything I felt pretty easily, and I didn't feel like I even died too badly. And I was feeling pretty good, but I knew that I was in Grindingo, and the grind just felt so slow. And I was like, I know somebody's got to be getting ahead of me. Somebody had to find a better grind spot, something.
Yeah, and there I accidentally throw out a YOLO because I was trying to figure out whether to hit or not on 48.
And I think I just decided to go for it here, even though I'm only at like 100 MP, and I'm just like, whatever. I think I'm behind.
That's really close to the number of MP that I entered this fight with, because I fought a few things on my way in.
My first 8 rolls against DL2 were below average, by the way. My range is 8 to 16 at 133 attack power. All 8 rolls were like 8s, 9s. Had an 11, had a 10.
And see, I didn't know about it's technically like a 1/8 chance for the 48, so I'm going to be keeping that in mind for the future.
I don't think I've hit...
1/8 of the fire breath is 48, 1/8 is 42, and then you have 3/8 is 44, 3/8 is 46.
And see, this is stats and stuff that, I'm new. I didn't know any of this. So, like, when I was just trying to keep ahead of it, I thought it was going to be like a 25% chance, so that's why I was healing. And then I just got caught in a hill loop because he was hitting me for mid-40s every single round. And I got a back attack.
And there's Beta Strap rounding the victory lap at just over an hour into this seat.
Oh, I did take a risk on 148.
Yeah, so I do end up dying there. I missed one roll, but I didn't roll below 12. So compared to Beta's luck there.
Yeah, and see, he was just doing, like, he kept knocking me down to like 46. Like, it wasn't even like leaving me a chance. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just go back and grind again.
And you know what? Fair. That's what I would have probably done. In fact, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm, kind of a newer player myself. I would have probably seen that 94 hit points and gone, you know what? I'm probably behind enough that I'm gonna wanna. I would be looking more at, okay, can I get a solid second place here because I'm figuring somebody's gonna beat me to it, and can I get my next level to get enough hit points that I don't get caught in a heal loop? That would kind of be my thought process at that point. It would be more damage control than trying to win.
Man, getting set at 48 and above those, Beta, that was really good luck.
Yeah, I fell down
1 in 16, so
I lost that roll at 48, but I was just doing the math there because I didn't do a count. I typically try to count when I'm fighting Dragon Lord, and I just didn't for whatever reason. But I had 3 heal mores left, and what I saw is I had 148. I missed a roll in there, so I probably was within 1 hit. So that's one of those things where you start doing different math, and I just wasn't counting. I didn't have any idea about how close I was. But it wouldn't have made any difference to try to catch Beta.
No, I wouldn't even have gotten close because he started off the back attack, knocked me to 46 before I even got a fight in. So I started that fight off behind.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's totally a luck-based thing when you come in lower MP than you might otherwise. It's something that we don't think about as much on a short Charlock like this, but definitely you're thinking about when you're going through the basement gauntlet that Charlock really presents in the long format.
Yeah, and the other thing I gotta learn is I gotta learn the experience table, because I think that was the other thing that, like, I don't know what experience is a level in very fast. Like, I'm just like, okay, I got a level.
I know one thing I do is I just put it on my timer, so I am one of those people who just levels up on the timer, so I just look at the timer and I say, okay, next level is, so like level 15 is 5,000. Great. I'm not all about that mental
so many
work.
times. I just have it in my head that, like, if we're doing 50% experience requirements like this, chances are it'll be go time when we get to 6,500 or at most like 9,500.
Man, I was really close to you. I was one golem fight behind you by the end of it. You started the Dragon Lord fight with me needing one fight.
Yeah, I think like that's one of the really interesting things watching this back is like just how close it ended and like trying to figure out kind of what led to that small difference.
Yeah, despite the disparity in the mid game, I mean, everybody closed out this match in fairly close march.
Yeah, and you see, I saw that 7 HP and I was just like, yep, that was enough.
Yeah, and getting that basically brought it from a very risky fight where you have to risk hitting on 48s to pretty much free.
This is definitely a case where if Sharlock is far away, like a 2 or 3 minute walk from the start, there is no way I'm going for game with 94 HP.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Unless you like happen to be in the region with an inn nearby, like when you got almost go stats, right? Like it's a conditional thing, but almost never. Yeah.
I'd only do it if it's like a 1v1 and I feel like I'm behind for whatever reason. Otherwise, you got to get the level and make it safe.
I mean, I just always feel behind. I know that's one thing that I really think there's a huge mental aspect of the rando racing where you can't know where anyone else is. Are you behind? I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm like 2 or 3 hits into my DL2 fight as you finish yours.
Yeah, and of course, for the audience, stay tuned. After this is done, in less than half an hour, we're going to be having another race that is going to be live. It's going to be Apex, Corvid, Centroid, Tristal, and Namanva. So stay tuned on this channel for more Dragon Warrior Randomizer madness.
But a big GG to Beta Strep and Karma and Stags, because I know that it really was a pretty close race to watch it back, and so that's really interesting to see. And Stags, I totally support your choice to not struggle the rest of this out. I am absolutely going to be quitting if I suffer through a seed and see that it's not in my interest to finish it out.
Yeah, I watching through this, I had just picked up the Staff of Rain. I redipped through Garenham because I absolutely cannot find the jerk. And there was no way that I was going to fight this out for another 30 minutes to find the jerk, go through every one of these caves again. You know, it's a great learning experience to actually, take some notes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've all had races where we've been like unable to find something and everybody else finishes, and it's just like, yeah, it's a standard thing where if you're in a race of 4 people in a tournament, like if you haven't found something and everybody else is done, it's for the most part people will quit at that point. I mean, it happened to Game Boy the other night too. I think it also happened to Brian Williams.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I think everyone experiences, and whether it was a 2-tile bridge that you thought just ended and it turns out that that's where all the key items were, or you didn't happen to find the one thing that you needed to grind on, right? Chaos will be next week, and that'll be a whole adventure, right?
It's actually something I haven't even tried yet, so I probably need to start practicing soon. But
I've been really enjoying the easy chaos practice. It's been a lot of fun.
yeah, see, I'm for anyone watching, like I'm new enough that I think I'm like been playing for 2 weeks maybe. I was super happy with 3rd here. I'm not gonna lie, being that close to 2nd as well. I would take that and just run.
And I mean, you acquitted yourself quite honorably. You made a lot of really good decisions. When you saw something wasn't working, you changed up. You didn't get yourself, focused on a strategy that just wasn't going to work. You did a darn good job, man. Do not feel bad about this at all.
Oh, I don't. Like I said, I don't. I'll take 3rd place and run with it. Especially in
GG's.
Yeah, GG's to all of you. Like this group, I was kind of like, I got 3 people who pretty much know what they're doing.
Yeah, GG's everybody. Try not to get too down on yourselves if you have a weird exploration situation like that. I think it happened to me the last time I played in League a couple years ago. Like I couldn't find Hawk's Nest or something like that, and I think armor was there. So it's like no matter how good you are, even if you map, you can still miss things.
Yeah, everybody has an off game or forgets where something is. I know I've full explored a map before, trying to find Jerk or whatever it was.
I mean, if nobody's watched the race from, I think it was last night, you should go watch that. Somebody missed a town just south of Castle for a good solid like 45 minutes. Ended up helping, but missed it because he was one tile and like boxed around it, one tile away the entire game.
Yeah, the exploration luck is a huge factor in just making seeds go your way or not. So, anyways, a huge GG. Thanks for hanging out and chatting through it. That was fun.
Yeah, and also I would like to point out it's 5-minute difference between first and third place on this seed. So very, very close race, all things considered. And I think we're going to be wrapping it up here soon, but stay tuned on this exact same channel because we're going to have another match for you coming up live in about 15 minutes, so stay tuned.
I'm going to drop at this point. Thanks everyone for coordinating this. Thanks for getting out here and filling in on comms, Schneegi. And Math Girl for the restream, and good games to all of you guys out there running.
Thanks for putting this together, guys. It was fun.
Yep. GG's, and thank you guys for the restreams and everything.